Have you ever wondered why managing an economy often feels like a delicate balancing act, especially when it comes to keeping prices stable and people employed? Central banks and governments are constantly grappling with this challenge, trying to find that sweet spot where the economy can thrive without overheating or stalling. Understanding key economic concepts can shed light on these complex decisions. The non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, or NAIRU, is fundamentally linked to the Phillips curve as the unique unemployment rate where inflation remains stable and does not accelerate or decelerate. In essence, NAIRU represents the point where the short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment, illustrated by the Phillips curve, disappears in the long run, causing the long-run Phillips curve to be vertical. To fully grasp this connection, we must first understand each concept. The Phillips curve, in its short-run form, suggests an inverse relationship between the rate of unemployment and the rate of inflation. When unemployment is low, inflation tends to be high, and when unemployment is high, inflation tends to be low. This is often explained by tight labor markets leading to higher wages and thus higher prices. NAIRU, on the other hand, is the specific unemployment rate at which the economy is operating at its maximum sustainable level without creating inflationary pressures. It includes frictional unemployment, which is temporary unemployment due to job transitions, and structural unemployment, which arises from mismatches between worker skills and available jobs. NAIRU is essentially the natural rate of unemployment. The critical insight is that if policymakers try to maintain unemployment below NAIRU for an extended period, the initial short-run gains in employment will eventually be offset by accelerating inflation. Workers will demand higher wages to compensate for rising prices, leading businesses to increase prices further, creating an inflationary spiral. This adjustment in inflationary expectations shifts the short-run Phillips curve upwards. Over time, attempts to push unemployment below NAIRU repeatedly lead to higher inflation without achieving a permanently lower unemployment rate. This causes the long-run Phillips curve to become vertical at the NAIRU level, demonstrating that there is no lasting trade-off between unemployment and inflation in the long run. For academic learners, recognizing NAIRU's role is crucial for analyzing monetary policy effectiveness. Central banks often use estimates of NAIRU as a benchmark to gauge whether the economy is running too hot or too cold. If the observed unemployment rate falls significantly below the estimated NAIRU, it signals potential inflationary pressures, prompting policymakers to consider tightening monetary policy to prevent an inflationary spiral. Furthermore, understanding the NAIRU concept helps in interpreting shifts of the short-run Phillips curve. For example, supply shocks or changes in labor market institutions can alter the NAIRU itself, which in turn impacts the entire framework of the Phillips curve. This dynamic interaction underscores the complexity of macroeconomic stabilization. Ultimately, the relationship between NAIRU and the Phillips curve teaches us that while there may be short-term opportunities to reduce unemployment at the cost of higher inflation, these trade-offs are not sustainable. The economy will always revert to its natural rate of unemployment in the long run, with only the inflation rate being affected by persistent attempts to stimulate demand beyond this point. This fundamental principle is key to comprehending the limits and capabilities of macroeconomic policy.